All right, the mic is on, working properly. Everything's working properly. Everything's working good. Oh God. All right, guys, here we go. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, guys, let's get some work done here. Yeah, let's do it.
We rewinded back to middle school or high school because Lil Pump going back and forth with Lil Tracy.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. So the only rappers that have been touring consistently for 10 years overseas, international, not some local rappers, is Uzi, Cardi, me, Trippy, and Six. And that's it. Y'all can name any other rappers and them have not been touring. I promise you. They've been at home sucking. So that's it. 10 years later, we still touring. Don't play with our body.
He's beefing with who? Little Tracy?
Anyways, we is not no Lil Tracy. Did shows in 2017, and boy, you moved like all the way across the country because you couldn't afford to live in LA. You want a bum man, go suck my.
So off rip, we're looking at Lil Pump here. Nah, I thought this was old because Lil Pump constantly looks different. However, I don't know why Lil Tracy had shots thrown at him, but first off, let's address the point where he says, oh, only artist doing tours 10 years later is him, Uzi, Cardi, Trippy, and 6ix9ine. Trippy, sure, we haven't. Now, hold on. Number one, Pump is not doing a tour. That's the thing. When was the last time you saw a Lil Pump tour?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, with all this nonsense that he's talking, he hasn't toured once. When's the last time you saw Lil Pump touring? He's doing shows, but on his Instagram, he's never like putting out that, oh, he's doing shows overseas. So I think that's also kind of cap as well. And well, as much as Little Tracy is putting out music consistently, I don't think that he's been doing shows. I mean, no, that's not true. Actually, that's not true. He's been doing a lot of shows with Drippin' So Pretty and also Bad Neighbors. But that's all just like in New York or I guess like in LA. But if he really moved out of LA because he couldn't afford it, it's too expensive, that's fine. But the man lives in what's it called? Lives in New York now, so I guess he's doing just fine. New York is, I could say, comparatively expensive to LA is.
Headlining tour. We have not seen that. We've seen Pump do shows around the world. Yes. Lil Pump still has a lot of demand around the world. Yes. Lil Pump, is he a legendary SoundCloud era rapper? Yes. I mean, it kind of pains me to say that. Granted, he dropped a lot of, but SoundCloud era? Yes. Lil Pump is one of the faces. Gucci Gang is one of the biggest songs. If there was going to be a tour, an official tour, as in, okay, we've got all of these dates, it would be a Smoke Perp and Lil Pump tour. And Smoke Perp attempted to go on tour a couple of years ago, and it was
Yeah, a complete nightmare, dude. The guy didn't sell any tickets whatsoever.
nightmare. Like there were shows where 7 people showed up. With that being said, Pump has demand overseas, but he's not doing tours. So let's get that out the way. 6ix9ine, he's not doing a tour. When was the last 6ix9ine tour that we saw? It was supposed, was it 2018? 6ix9ine has done a lot of bookings. Yes. He's been booked at a lot of festivals. Yes. But he's not been doing tours. So let's get him out the way. Cardi, yes. He's actually the one artist we can see here that's been doing tours. Trippy, he was supposed to do a tour. Trippy's done several tours. So let's just get him out the way. Yes, he has done tours. And Uzi, we know he's capable of.
Yeah, for someone like Trippy, who you would think his fan base isn't really that rabid, he is consistently doing a lot of shows. And out of the artists on the list, there is Cardi and Uzi, who are, I guess, doing a lot of shows, like and tours as well. So that's pretty like big ups to them for still having a fan base that is tapped in. Because this is the problem with a lot of these SoundCloud rappers is they have a lot of hype online, but they're not necessarily doing anything that can guarantee them sort of any kind of like what's it called? Any kind of show money. Like they'll do a bunch of shows at like events and things like that, but like in terms of going on tour, it's like, bro, they're not selling tickets like that, bro. Sorry, Smoke Perp's not selling tickets like that, fam.
it, and he's done them. So Pump himself is talking about something that he has not done in years. I mean, we're talking about maybe before 2020. If I remember correctly, it was the last time we saw him go on an official headlining tour. Now, why the hell did Lil Tracy get dissed? I don't even know. But Made in Tokyo would actually chime in, another SoundCloud legend, and he would say, Lil Tracy overseas tour is actually fire. He was booked all last year overseas, which would make sense to stay overseas. Shoot, this year he was in Tokyo. Motion is motion. And I don't know why they're going back and forth. Like, to be honest, like Lil Pump, as he's grown up, I've gone more to a liking to Lil Pump. And Lil Pump has dropped some good music. He was working with this producer. His name is escaping me. We've spoken before. He's a cool guy, and they were making some good music together. This was, I think, Lil Pump 2 era. Yeah, they were making some good stuff around this time, 2023. But this was an independent release, and he has not dropped since then. Like, there's Lil Pump Deluxe, right? Lil Pump 2 Deluxe, I should say. But he hasn't dropped a project since then, and that was 2 years ago. But these guys used to work together. Like, Lil Tracy and Lil Pump, didn't they have music together, if I remember correctly? So I really wonder where this is coming from. But
I don't think so. I don't think they had any tracks together, unfortunately, you know?
I do think this is a great opportunity to defend Lil Tracy, because this is somebody that I don't think gets enough credit for what he's done. Now, first off, like, let's just take a look at just off of monthly listeners, right? Because Lil Pump is so much bigger than Lil Tracy. Lil Pump has had Billboard topping hits. Like, Gucci Gang was on the top of the charts. Not number one, but it was damn near there. It was like a number 3. Lil Pump currently has 5.6 million monthly listeners. If we take a little bit of a look over at our man's Lil Tracy here, who we are defending for today, who also, let's not talk about his Lil Like a Farmer song being what inspired Lil Nas X's whole run and him getting ran out of that. But Lil Tracy's got 4.9 million monthly listeners, which isn't very far off from Lil Pump. Now, something that people will say to detract from Lil Tracy's success is, well, if you look at the most popular songs for Lil Tracy, they're all with Lil Peep. So
Let's not hate. Let's not hate to the point where we have to say that Lil Tracy. Okay, fine. Well, let's be honest. Lil Tracy owes his entire success to Lil Peep, bro. The whole thing. Just like, and this is gonna be a crazy take, but just like Ski Master Slum God owes his entire success to Triple X. And listen, guys, it's not a hating comment. It's just to say that there always needs to be the guiding light in any sort of group, right? There always needs to be that guiding person or that guiding person that comes in and is hot, and then that attracts attention to the rest of the members. Like, if you look at Goth Boy Click, the only reason why I can name the members in the group, like Horsehead or Wicca Phase, is only because of Little Peep. Little Peep is instrumental for that whole entire group being of any sort of notoriety. But that's not a bad thing. But the thing is with Little Tracy, the reason why he left Goth Boy Click was because he was getting mad at the fact that Little Peep was getting all the attention. And that's fine. That's fine. If people want to be these ultra narcissists, that's okay. But just don't hate the hand that feeds, essentially. And I think this is what Little Tracy is out here. I think ever since that decline when he left Goth Boy, he's unfortunately never been the same, you know?
come on now, like he's getting juiced. His numbers are getting juiced even now, because the popular section of Spotify is like what songs are currently getting the most streams. And there's two ways we can approach this. Number one, we can say that, well, when he made these songs with Lil Peep, they were tight and they weren't even popping. Neither of them had blown up. The majority of Lil Peep's catalog and streams came after he passed. He was not a smoking hot artist. Like, he was bubbling and he had a cult-like fan base, but he had not taken off until he passed away, and definitely hadn't taken off in the States. He was a lot more popular overseas. So that's one way we can approach it. Number two is, he never had a Hot 100 hit. So Lil Tracy, he didn't have the aid that Lil Pump has with a Gucci Gang or a song with...
Yeah, but first of all, the Gucci Gang, the major push for Gucci Gang was all because of Warner, like the Warner deal that he had. So it's not like Lil Pump was doing that independently, like the buzz that Lil Pump had independently. Sure, Gucci Gang was a big song, but let's not forget the push from the machine.
Yay, right? Like, he had a big feature like that. He also had a song with xXXTentacion, which I don't know. I think it was Arms Around You. Was that the song? So two of the most popular songs being streamed by Lil Pump are from features. And even Coronao Now, that was with El Alfa. So that's another feature. So already 3 of his top 4 are features. You know what's funny is that Gucci Gang is not even being streamed that much currently in comparison to Boss. I'm guessing something's going on with Boss and maybe some nostalgia from TikTok.
Yeah, I was just about to say, them TikTok people, bro, they be making sounds surge again, just randomly, especially this whole 2016 vibe. Y'all niggas are nostalgic for no reason, bro.
Causing it to be streamed more. But what's a better thing to look at is some album metrics. Like, let's see what they've been doing lately. So Lil Pump 2, which I said was, he had some decent songs on there. Looking at it, you know, a lot of this is averaging 1 million streams. The song with Smoke Purp, unfortunately, has, the first one, Tesla, that one's actually did pretty well, 14 million as the intro track. But a lot of this it's varying, right? Like, he has peaks here with 14 million. You've got a song with 5 million. All of a sudden, I thought this song was good. I think this was my favorite song on here.
There's one track on here called Move It with 428,000, or was that removed?
He's got a song with YoungBoy, and he's got a lot of features.
Oh, but then he has another one here called what? Subs or Styles or something? Swipe? For 400,000 as well? Those aren't really big views for somebody that's supposed to be a SoundCloud legend.
Non-feature songs, he's not doing more than 1 million streams, which is important. We got to go by non-feature songs, except for Mosh Pit, actually. That banged. We look at a Lil Tracy, and this was in 2023, by the way, that last project. Lil Tracy, we'll take a look at a Lil Tracy project from just 2025, so a year ago, which it didn't have as much time to accumulate as many streams. And a Lil Tracy project.
Bro, the streams are similar. Shout out to Lil Tracy for holding it down after all this time. First of all, that Little Pump project, if you said it came out in 2023, that's been almost 3 years. So in the last 3 years, you haven't been able to accumulate more than 400,000 views on some of your songs. Lil Pump, the legend, the SoundCloud legend, apparently. And then Baby Vamp had probably like dropped like what, last year or something. And this is, come on, man. Why are you guys playing with my nigga Lil Tracy like that?
Project in the big 2025 Baby Vamp, right? You've got, most of it is just Lil Tracy. You've got this feature from Black Cray, which, shout out to Black Cray. That's a real underground legend right there. Not that these guys aren't. I said those guys are SoundCloud V2. Black Cray is kind of still SoundCloud V1. Like, he has a Sick Boy Rari guy, but this guy's not contributing to more streams than Lil Tracy is. Let's be real here. And Lil Tracy's doing anywhere. He's got Young Emo with an M. He's got a good amount of streams, like several 100,000 per song. He's got one with 2 million, one with 1.5 million, and this is a year ago. So this is 2025 to 2026. Lil Pump had several years from 2023, and they dropped the deluxe for that. And this was a highly anticipated album. Well, it was an independent release for both of them. And that's something where we got to give credit to Tracy too. Tracy has sustained a successful career, and like academics he hasn't mentioned him in a very long time, but he kind of tries to talk about Lil Tracy as somebody whose career that he killed. That's not true, because Lil Tracy had some sort of involvement with academics' ex-girlfriend. Like, she appeared on a stream with Lil Tracy. So he had this personal gripe towards him, which is completely understandable.
Y'all niggas be beefing with people just because your shorty showed up on a stream? Come on, man.
But Lil Tracy has had a successful career as an independent artist, and not everybody wants to be touring all the time. Maybe he doesn't want to be touring in the US. Like, take for example 21 Savage. 21 Savage is an artist who he owned his masters, so he was earning a lot from the sales of his music or streams of his music, even though he was a partner with Epic, and he avoided touring for years. I don't think it was until he hopped on tour with J. Cole and then went on the Her Loss tour that he actually started touring, and that was because he was just making so much money. He's like, why would I tour? I'm chilling over here. I don't want to live the lifestyle of touring. So that's also a
Yeah, touring is also very fatiguing, fam. Yeah. It's one of those things where you're just going from city to city. You're barely getting any sleep. Most of the time, you're not going to be able to do it by airplane, so you're doing it by tour bus, and you're sleeping on the tour bus, bad sleep on the tour bus. You can't use the washroom on the tour bus. Apparently, that's the rule, right? So, but it just seems like a terrible life. You're essentially like living this life of a glorified solopreneur. Because it's not like you can have people go out on tour for you. You know, it's not like you can clone yourself and tell your clone to go on tour. It's like you're dragging your ass all across the entire country, doing all these shows, performing, getting poor sleep, and then you're doing this over and over again. That's why a lot of artists don't like touring. Like, when's the last time Eminem toured? Yeah, exactly. Not happening, because that's what I'm saying. A lot of these people, they don't want to slave away being on the tour bus, dude. It's not a good. The reason why a lot of artists, especially, will tour is because they want to capitalize on the buzz, especially the label. They want them to capitalize on the buzz of the album or the buzz of their song or whatever the case might be, so they can extract as much money from these artists as possible. Because there's nothing guaranteeing that these people are going to be here in 2-3 years' time. So they need to get as much from these people as possible, and then boom, boot them out the door and find another next hot thing, you know?
possibility, but Lil Tracy's killing it. So shout out to Lil Tracy. This guy's been dropping great music. I don't like to see these guys go back and forth, to be honest. Like Lil Pump has also, I kind of fell back from music, and he dropped a song with Sneeko, but that's like a little bit more fun. I think he's just trying to enjoy himself now. And I do think some people owe Lil Pump an apology for not going broke, because people swore Lil Pump was going to go broke. Lil Pump is not struggling. Lil Pump is not going broke. And Lil Pump's last album, which was released independently, like it did decent streams. So he's been doing okay. I don't know if he still has the love for music that he once did, but he did say 2026 is the new 2016, and he's going to try to make a comeback after that. But yeah, and there's also other artists that are still, like Denzel Curry, I would say has done more tours than Lil Pump has, like actual genuine tours. And if we're talking about 10 years, right, we're going.
Right, but Denzel Curry also has more of a tapped-in fan base than Lil Pump does, bro. Let's be serious.
Back to 2016. Just look at the 2016 XXL freshman class. Yachty has done a lot of tours. Who else? Kodak Black has done tours. And as much? I don't know. G Herbo for sure has been doing tours. Anderson .Paak has toured more than all of these guys. And Anderson .Paak, I guarantee, is a better performer than all of these guys. Who have I seen live? I have it. Kodak Black is trash Garbaggio live. Granted, I saw him at a festival, which festivals suck. Not interested in going to any of those unless I get the royal treatment, which, let's be real here. Are they going to give a plebeian, a serf like me, the royal treatment? No, they're not.
A goy.
So I'll stay away from festivals. Uzi, did I see live? No, I didn't see 21 either. But Anderson .Paak is one of the best performers I've ever seen. So yeah, he watches that whole list when it comes to performances. So those guys they've all done tours. So let's ease up a little bit. I do like that Lil Pump is, trying to get back into the mix. A little bit of beef is good. I do think the streaming meta is, if it worked for a 6ix9ine, it can.
First of all, the entire streaming meta is all bullshit, bro. Every single thing going on in the streaming meta is all BS. It's all inflated. All the numbers are botted. The streamers bought their views. The music people bought their streams. You can buy streams. J. Cole was trying to call out people a couple years ago for like stream botting, but he ended up getting caught for boosting his views as well. So, I mean, it's all just the idea of the narrative. I think when it really comes down to it, is if you're independent and you have your own following, and you're either partnered with a label for distribution or whatever, like marketing and stuff, that's fine. But all this pocket watching, all this who's touring, who's doing shows, who's doing that, who cares? At the end of the day, the idea of making music or making money from music, rather, is a stupid idea. It's one of those things where you do it to use your power of influence to get either brand deals or to jump into other investments that are way more lucrative. Because let's be honest, unless you're touring heavy, or you're owning your masters or you're publishing, a lot of these niggas are not making money from their music, bro. Let's be dead ass honest here. Y'all niggas need to be honest with yourselves. Be honest. Be honest. Let's be honest. What is this? When.
Celebrity overdose. It is.
Oh, guys, this is a celebrity overdose video. Okay, let's get into it. Let's figure out why these guys are always kicking the bucket, man. Let's find out why these celebrities are always ODing.
Such a common story, I feel like it doesn't even shock us anymore when it happens. And it always feels like the same story. A young artist amazes the world with how talented they are.
Is it a conspiracy, these ODs, or what? Inside job ting? PSYOP?
We fall in love with not only their music or their acting, but we fall in love with them, their personality. They always seem so raw and honest. We relate to them. We love their quirks. And as they grow, they become part of our lives, part of our identity. And when you see them win and achieve everything they said they wanted, it makes you happy. And as they do that, get the fame, fortune, respect, everything that they asked for, it seems like they always mess it up with drugs. It starts with the rumors, maybe a high performance, maybe a public meltdown. We see them, the people that we love, deteriorate and ruin what they built with drugs. And sometimes they try to get better and sometimes they don't, but then you get the news.
Matthew Perry.
Michael Jackson.
No.
Mac Miller believed to have suffered an overdose.
So today we're gonna look at the most famous celebrity overdoses and kind of dissect them a little bit from a drug nerd's perspective. And
this guy's a drug nurse talking about these niggas ODing, bro. Come on, man. Are we getting into the talk about mental health? Are we going to get into the ideas of how fame is just a stupid, like, it's one of those things that most people in their lives will never experience. So the pressures of fame, the pressures of releasing the projects or getting into the right acting projects, the I guess like the pressure of also supporting a family and all these things that come into, I guess, why people, right, they OD and such. Because it's a multifaceted topic. It's not one of those things where it's just like, oh, because they're a musician or an artist, yeah, they're just automatically guaranteed that they're going to OD. Come on, let's figure this out.
I've actually not done the research for this video, so we will be learning together.
You see, country music was always a part of the influence on my type of music anyway. There's a combination of country music and gospel.
So starting out this list chronologically, we have Elvis Presley. And I don't really think I need to introduce Elvis. He was famous back in a time where there was no blueprint for fame. I mean, he was beyond royalty. He was a living god. He lived famously in basically Elvis world in his own little bubble. And it seemed like he loved the fame. You see the performances, and just looking through them now, the dude was charismatic. He knew how to perform and captivate an audience, and he loved it. But his downfall and eventual death is kind of a debated one. Depending on who you ask, it's a different story. I was told as a kid, he famously died on the toilet from a heart attack. But then some people say, well, no, he died on the toilet because of an overdose. Some people say it was a heart attack caused by drug use. But it seems like what is not debated is that he was a big fan of drugs, and drugs were a huge part of his deterioration.
His use of drugs, but he thought that they were legal drugs because they were all prescribed. But was there anybody around him who...
Yo, this shorty looks like she talks to death on a cell phone, bro. Given to her by death itself. What is up with her face, bro? Come on. The shorty looks like she's one medicated prescription away from ODing, dude.
could convince him to stop?
No, you couldn't convince Elvis on anything. But he had taken them for a long time, before I even met him. Even in Germany, when I met him, he was already taking uppers and downs.
Shorty's mouth looks like a Muppet character, bro. You know when you do the thing with your sock like this? Sorry.
And sleeping pills, because he could not sleep.
This is the famous Priscilla Presley that he met when he was in Germany serving in the military. He was 24, and she was not 24. I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. But what Priscilla said is very
Zepstein Island niggas, man, they've been around.
interesting, because she said before she even knew him, he was doing these medications. And this was early in Elvis's career, so it sounds like drugs were maybe always part of Elvis's career. What were these drugs? Now, based on context and the time period, I can kind of guess on what the uppers might have been. And they were probably either Benzedrine, Dexedrine, or mephedrine. These were somewhat common uppers at the time. And what they are, Benzedrine is amphetamine sulfate, which is street speed. Dexedrine is dextroamphetamine, which is a major component in Adderall. And then mephedrine is just meth. And these medications were given to people for a number of reasons. Narcolepsy, for weight loss medication, for getting energy and focus. It actually seems like, from my limited research, it wasn't super uncommon for military men to use them to stay up on shift. But
bro, do you know how the Nazis won the war, bro? Taking meth. You know? That's how they were able. No, sorry. No, it's not. Sorry. God. Damn it. Imagine if the Nazis won the war, bro. Imagine, dude. It would be a different world. I'm just saying, the way they were able to invade a majority of countries and take over the way they did is through the use of meth, bro. They used it on all the soldiers. Everyone's grinding and gritting their teeth, staying up for 2 days. How are you going to defeat a nigga that is awake for 2 days and doesn't and wants to perish for his country, bro? How are you going to do? You can't. You're unbeatable, bro. Shout out to... No shout outs, bro. There's no shout outs. This is not that video.
I don't imagine that's why Elvis did them. I suspect one of the major reasons he used them is, alongside being basically a good way to wake up, almost like a very strong cup of coffee, these medications can often give you this feeling of euphoria and confidence that can almost give you a charisma. Now, I would imagine that sometimes he might have to do a performance or be in the studio, and maybe he's just not in the mood, and these medications can almost forcefully get you in the mood to be creative or charismatic or talkative. In fact, whenever you're seeing me on camera, most of the time I'm doing a version of these medications. I currently take Ritalin, which is kind of a relative of these medications. But there's a huge side effect to taking these drugs, which is...
Hold on, who's in the chat? Someone just slid in the chat? Oh my God. What a yucky.
They can make sleep really hard. And that's where downers and sleeping pills come in.
You talk about how the doctors would basically give him anything he wanted. So
I
they
was
were really
there.
enabling it, right?
Very much. He was Elvis. You're not going to say no to Elvis.
The way she said that was terrifying. So finding the complete list of all the drugs that Elvis took is really hard. He did a lot of drugs. But as a drug nerd, there's two medications that he seemed to like to use a lot. They're very interesting. And they're antihistamines and laxatives.
Bro, antihistamines, isn't that for allergies? And laxatives to go to poop poop? This man is just taking it freely like this? Yeah. Wild, bro. Man just walks into the pharmacy, yo, give me some laxatives, and I'm good to go. Yeah. Wild, bro. Allergy medicine and laxatives. Man's just having a poopy of a time, bro, with those sniffles.
aka allergy medication and medication to make you poop. Now on the surface you might think the dude might have had allergies and constipation. What's the big deal? Well, those two things combined kind of smell like a very certain type of drug addict to me. You see, antihistamines can be used for allergies. They can also be sometimes used for sleep. Benadryl is a good example for that. But when someone uses opioids, a common symptom of opioid use is an itchiness. And that is because opioids cause the release of histamines in the body. And that itchiness for a frequent opioid user can be very annoying. So some opioid users can use antihistamines to get rid of that itchiness. And the reason the laxatives are added in there is because
the itch, bro, it's the worst.
Long-term opioid use can cause severe constipation. And sure enough, my suspicion is confirmed with this 60-minute story from 2 years after his death.
After analyzing body tissue, they reported traces of 10 separate drugs.
Jesus.
This man's... Let's... The list is crazy, bro. The man said, nah. Smoking kush like them negroloids, that's not gonna cut it. We need to get into the strong stuff. Codeine, morphine, Quaaludes, Valium, Valmid, Placidil, Nembutal, phenobarbital, pentobarbital, Batubertal. Bro, excuse me? God damn it, bro. There's no wonder why the nigga was in a coffin, dog.
H. Christ. That list is like all the legendary drugs of that era in like the 1900s. It's like he had them all. At the top, codeine and morphine. These are two opioids, so we have that. He liked opioids. Next, we have Quaaludes, the legendary ludes. And if you don't know what ludes are, they're sedative hypnotics. They were actually prescribed for insomnia, so they actually help you sleep. I think a lot of people think that they're like almost MDMA-like. They're not. They're very much a very sedative thing. But the reason why Quaaludes were phased out is because people were getting really addicted to them, and so they were replaced with benzodiazepines, which is the next one on the list. Valium. The hilarious thing is Valium, which is still used today. Benzos are very common today. They're also very addictive and super terrible to get addicted to. One of the worst addictions. But Valium, used for sleep. Valmid, another sedative hypnotic, used for sleep. Placidil, or Placidil, I don't know, used for sleep. And then the last four are barbiturates, which again are old school medications used for sleep. So the dude definitely had a problem with sleep. It's also worth noting most of these on this list are also known to
yeah, bro, because you're taking meth all day, dog. What do you mean?
give you a pretty good euphoria or high, so. But the thing that I find very noteworthy about this is that a lot of these sleeping medications, and this is a thing common today, there's this idea that they are good for sleep, which is false. With sleeping medication, there's a bit of a deception with it because a lot of people who have insomnia are just exhausted because they can't sleep. And so these medications that they take finally help them get to sleep. And that's what they are good for, helping you get to sleep. But it comes at the cost of the quality of sleep. If we just look at one of these drugs like Valium that is still prescribed very much today, multiple studies show it is not good for the quality of sleep, especially for long-term use. It is not advised at all. Now, this isn't to shit on any of these medications or Valium. There's very good uses for those medications. But after literally years of dependency like Elvis did on these drugs, it reduces the quality of sleep, your lifestyle, your natural body's processes. After years of this, it deteriorates your body and mind to a real extreme extent, and that's exactly what happened with Elvis.
The world's a stage, and each of us play a part. They had been playing plus tax. I have no cause to doubt you. What are they going here in your lives?
Kind of sad. It's not super sad. Elvis, not my cup of tea. To each their own. I think he's kind of a But let's finally get to how the old man died. And I just want to say I will definitely make a lot of people upset with this because it is a super debated thing till today. People on Reddit and will get super fired up about their opinion. Here's the information that is agreed upon. Elvis's fiancée Ginger was there the night he died. And side note, apparently he met Ginger when she was 5 years old, but they didn't start dating until she was 20 and he was 41. The more I read and watch Elvis.
Excuse me? He was 20, he met her at 5. And then, bro, I can't keep up with y'all niggas, man. With this pedo math, it's crazy.
He's literally just Drake of the 1960s. Like, it's the same person.
There wasn't the only allegation Drake has with the Millie Bobby Brown. Okay, that's the okay. You guys were getting too close. It's no.
Like they're both kind of almost fabricated people to parody Black American music and art. They're very similar, and they both love. Anyways, this is how Ginger recalls the night.
Elvis turned on television in his room to relax for a little while. At about 6:30. Elvis called downstairs for Ricky Stanley to bring up his packet of medication to help him get to sleep. Elvis took his packet of medication. So at about 8 o'clock, I woke up because Elvis was restless, saying that he just couldn't sleep. Ricky came up and brought up another packet of medication.
A second packet.
Right. Elvis took that. The third time, I was awakened again. Elvis was starting to get up, saying that he still couldn't sleep. I slept.
Who is this? Why did they draw Elvis all chubby like this, bro? Damn.
until 2 o'clock, and the bathroom door was still shut. So I opened the door, and that's when I saw Elvis.
According to the medical investigator, the body was purple or deep blue.
So just using that account, I can see how it would be a heart attack, but I can also see how it can be a drug overdose. The specific drugs that he was taking that he obviously took a lot of that night are central nervous system depressant. Those sleeping pills relax your body, essentially. And another thing that they cause that I've experienced firsthand from taking things like Valium is they cause a disorientation and a memory loss. You can often black out. I've experienced multiple times where you take it, and sometimes you forget that you've even taken one, which can put you at risk at taking another one, forgetting that you've already taken some. And when you have a laundry list of very strong sleeping medications, that mistake of taking another dose can be deadly. And how someone would die on these is because they are depressants of the central nervous system, you become so relaxed and your breathing becomes so shallow that your body starts to lack oxygen. That can actually cause that purple or blue discoloration in the fingertips or the hands. And from Elvis's perspective, if he did die from overdose, he probably just would have experienced becoming so relaxed that he fell asleep and then just passed away. It's one of the more peaceful ways to die as far as overdoses are concerned. But yeah, I don't know. It could be overdose, could be heart attack. We could deduce, I just don't want to do more. This guy depresses me. We're moving on. Man, you know what doesn't depress me though? Don't fucking do it. No, don't do it. Today's sponsor, inoculated genetic material, are called spores. Now, someone that the question is, where do you get these genetics? Where do you get these spores of all these different? Also, things like
that makes the tall grass bend into leaning, and suddenly.
Yo, what's crazy? I didn't know Whitney was a baddie like that, bro.
Raindrops.
If you're not familiar with Whitney Houston, as far as talent, she was like actually really special. She was a church girl. She grew up in church. And I say that for a couple reasons. One is if you know anything about Black church creates some of the best musicians in the world and has for decades. Just kind of the nature of how it works. I actually used to play in Black churches. I was bad. It was hard. It's intense. The music is very difficult to play and it often makes very, very talented people. And Whitney Houston is definitely an example of them. But the other reason I bring that up is that music in that church is very much intertwined with feeling the spirit, as it is with a lot of churches, but it just feels much different in Black church. I can't tell you the amount of times, as someone who's not religious, that I've teared up or even cried during a sermon because the music takes a hold of you and the crowd will break out. That's people jumping out of their seats, screaming, feeling the spirit, as they would say. And seeing how that power of music can affect everyone around you seemed like it very much affected Whitney Houston and how she thought about really her purpose on this earth. It was to share her music.
Could you see the reaction on everybody's faces when you sang?
You know what I used to do, Diane?
Whitney Houston is unbelievable of a talent, bro. It's so crazy that she got to get involved with Mr. Bobby Brown, man. Oh, man. Bobby. You did a number, buddy. You done did a number, buddy.
I would close my eyes like this and I'd sing. And when I would open my eyes, the people would be what we call Holy Ghost fired out. They would be in such spirit. I think I knew then it was an infectious thing that God had given me.
She truly believed that the reason she was given this voice by God was to share that with others. It gave her a purpose. And as she became famous in her early 20s, it seemed like people recognized that. She wasn't just another beautiful pop star that got famous because she's beautiful, but she loved music and in fact was a musical genius. But how did drugs play a part in this?
Bobby!
As time went on in her career, it looks like there was rumors of her doing drugs, but not a lot of like concrete evidence. But there was talk that maybe she was doing drugs. And more time passed, and then those rumors were confirmed. She started to lose a lot of weight, look really, really unhealthy. Maybe a high performance where she just acted kind of strange. And eventually, it seemed like the major accusation of what she was doing was crack cocaine.
But that's not just thin.
No, what is it? Diane, tell me. Do you know?
It's scary thin.
Did you really know?
No, you know.
Thank you.
Anorexia?
No way.
They've written it.
No way.
Bulimia?
No way.
That it's because of drugs?
No.
Whitney dying. Crack rehab fails.
First of all, let's get one thing straight. Crack is cheap.
You heard it here first, folks.
I make too much money to ever smoke crack. Let's get that straight, okay? We don't do crack. We don't do that. Crack is whack.
To borrow a Black American phrase, a hit dog is gonna holler. Yeah, she was doing crack. But technically she wasn't. And before we get into that, let's just go into where did this drug habit start? It seems like it's a pretty popular discourse to blame her husband, Bobby Brown. Apparently, a lot of people say that he introduced her to crack, and when they started to do drugs together, it kind of was the downfall of her, right? But I actually found evidence of the contrary. According to one of Whitney's best friends in the entire world, Robin Crawford, who actually was a bit of a part-time lover for her, Whitney admitted to doing drugs when she was 14 years old, cocaine being one of those drugs. And from other reports I'm reading, it seems like it was pretty common knowledge that on her way up, she never really dropped the drugs entirely. It was kind of part of it, and she didn't really stop. But why would someone who's clearly so talented feel the need to do drugs? Now, of course, we don't know Whitney. There could be a million of reasons, but one of them that I think is probably very likely is for the exact reason Elvis did stimulants as well. Cocaine is a different molecule than Adderall or meth or any of the stimulants that Elvis was doing, but they're all classified, these stimulants, as sympathomimetics. Now, translating with
sympathomimetics. Interesting. Pot, meth, cocaine, okay.
That means very basically is that these drugs simulate the fight or flight in our body, that reaction you have when you might be, getting chased in the jungle or whatever, right? And for creatives, especially like Whitney, who have a lot of pressure on themselves for achieving very highly, stimulating that fight or flight is really beneficial. Like I said earlier, you can get these feelings of confidence or charisma, but on top of that, and this is a really big thing that I'm kind of reflecting on right now, it stops second guessing a lot. Like for me personally, I think a lot about why I do ADHD medications. And obviously, I have ADHD, but sometimes I feel.
Bro, I don't know. Like, it's one of those things. Should we touch about the topic of like nobody actually needs to take any pharmaceuticals? Should I say that? Is that one of those things? Should I say that nobody needs pharmaceuticals, or is that a crazy take? I'm going to go on the limb, and I'm going to make a crazy take, and I'm going to say nobody needs pharmaceuticals. You don't need them. You don't need them. Go outside, get some exercise, do things that you actually enjoy doing, do things that stimulate you, like, hobby-wise, this, that, and the fourth. But pharmaceuticals, hey, I don't think we need them.
I feel like the real reason why I do it is to stop myself from being so hard and second guessing everything I do. Like, I have this habit of I'll film a section and then refilm it and then refilm it and then be like, oh, I just didn't use the wording, it's not interesting enough, I need to change my inflection here, and I'm so hard on myself. But when I take a stimulant, a sympathomimetic that stimulates that fight or flight, what happens is I don't second guess myself.
Wouldn't that just be like a lack of self-esteem? Sorry, a lack of like a lack of self-esteem, essentially. Like, his self-esteem is too low, so he's always constantly overanalyzing himself. Told you, man, there's no need for pharmaceuticals, okay?
Because when you're in that fight or flight, you don't have time to. Your body goes, just make a decision and do it, right? And that's exactly what these medications or drugs like cocaine can do. And I'm imagining that's exactly how Whitney felt at times. Especially someone who's so clearly talented and grew up in such an environment that was so harsh because she was so talented and had so many expectations. It's counterintuitive, but I get it. But as far as linking her drug downfall with her relationship with Bobby Brown, who was famously toxic, I think blaming Bobby Brown is tired. She was a grown woman, she made her own decisions. You don't blame it on other people. But I do think that it's something that should be focused on. Because I hate to be cliche, toxic love is a legitimate drug. So many of us can relate to the feeling of losing sleep, having anxiety, losing the ability to eat, to function and have your job and maintain friendships. You literally in a toxic relationship have all of the symptoms of a drug addict. And what happens when you try to separate from that toxic relationship? You have heartbreak, aka withdrawal syndrome. And that can
This is what I always tell people, bro. The thrill. That's why most people do anything that they do, whether it's dating a toxic lover, quote unquote, whether it's doing crime, taking barbiturates and consuming products. It's for the thrill. You do it for the rush, that euphoria, that feeling of adrenaline that rushes through your body. And you can get addicted to it. Just the same way you can get addicted to being depressed all the time. Being depressed all the time actually releases like a poisoning effect in your body that you get addicted to, the same way how when people consume alcohol, it's that poisoning that you're getting addicted to, right? It's that same sort of self-destructive behavior on either ends of the spectrum. You get addicted to it, you seek it, you look out for destructive, argumentative relationships that are literally destroying your life and raising your cortisol levels. Once again, like I said, we don't need pharmaceuticals, guys.
Have just as much of a severe toll on someone's health as actual drugs, truly. And I also think it's really worthwhile to mention that drugs or toxic love are not the reason why people have the downfall necessarily, but it's the effects of those things on the later parts of people's lives. A good example of this medically is what causes meth mouth is actually not just direct meth use, it's often meth use that is associated with other habits. So someone who's addicted to meth is not eating right, which can affect dental health. They're staying up for hours. They are not brushing their teeth. They are living in unsafe, dirty environments. That is what links to meth mouth. It is not actually just the meth. Meth doesn't cause that alone. It doesn't. Meth, I think can reduce saliva in the mouth, which can affect, but it's really the rest of the environment around it that causes that. Same thing with Whitney's health. Was it cocaine or was it the lifestyle she led with cocaine and toxic love? Now to finally get to how Whitney ended up dying, and also how I mentioned earlier that she didn't technically do crack. Do you see how in this interview she was pretty offended by the accusation that she was doing crack? It was really, she took offense to it.
We don't do crack. We don't do that. Crack is whack.
Well, I actually have an old acquaintance that helped me understand this a little bit.
I grew up in crack house.
When you would talk about what she would smoke, right? She'd be like, no, I don't do crack. Crack is whack. I did freebase. Was there this idea back in the day that freebase, that's not trashy, that's cool, while crack, that's whack?
No, it was a party favorite to them. I was told, my grandpa, he's from that time, so they would tell you there was more partying. They were partying. Freebase was like bad weed and crack put together. So she was just she wasn't just, there was what we call it, rose. It's like she wasn't really just freely smoking crack. She just.
So it was a different perception, back in the day. It was they didn't see it as the same.
It was a party. It was oh yeah, I just got a little head change. And then didn't worry, motherfuckers can't afford their drugs. They got addicted. People couldn't come off. And it just went to another level. Like anytime, bro. Call me anytime.
Okay, thank you, man. Okay, peace. You see, Whitney wasn't smoking crack, she was smoking freebase. And this might be a little bit hard to explain, but I'm gonna try my best. So regular cocaine, cocaine hydrochloride, the stuff that you snort, you can't smoke it. And there's a lot of reasons why you'd want to smoke it. One of them being that it's really hard on your nose. Your nose might be clogged up, so you can't snort. The other reason is that when you smoke it, it hits harder and better. So if you want to smoke cocaine, you have two options that you can chemically do to that cocaine to make it smokable. One of those is making crack. And crack is the process of making smokable cocaine using baking soda. But the problem with crack is that it's often kind of dirty. There's a lot of baking soda in it. It's often cheaper because there's a lot more baking soda in it. And so there's, back in the day, was this perception that crack is kind of like cheap and like for poor people. But there's another option if you want to smoke cocaine called freebasing. Now the process of freebasing cocaine is actually the exact same chemical process. The end product is the same, but you have to use a lot more like chemistry to do it correctly. But the final product is very, very pure smokable cocaine, often much more expensive, and was back in the day seen a little bit classier. That's why Whitney took so much offense to saying you smoke crack, because she didn't. She smoked freebase. And actually in a later interview with Oprah, she confirms this is exactly what she did.
No, we were lacing our marijuana with base. With base. Yeah. We didn't want crack. We didn't crack stuff. We weren't buying like $20 jumbos. We were paying money. Yeah. We were buying like ounces and ounces. We would have our shit. Yeah. You know, but you were freebasing cocaine. Basically. Yeah. And our weed. And weed. And we weren't doing it last. We weren't doing like pipe smoking. Yeah. We didn't get that far. No.
Whitney's final days were.
You want to know something about lacing your weed or coke, bro? It's the worst. It's the worst. If you feel like you're in the 9th inning of a fucking baseball game, man, just feel like a chaotic jazz drummer, bro. That's the feeling. Okay, that's how you feel. Like you just feel like oh, all you should be doing right now is playing jazz. Jesus fucking Christ, bro, it's the worst.
Sad. She was reported as being kind of disheveled and mismatching clothes. Her hair was soaked, and eventually she was found dead in a hotel bathtub. And the cause of death is kind of a complicated one.
The final cause of death has been established as drowning due to atherosclerotic heart disease and cocaine use.
Atherosclerotic heart disease is essentially just a lot of plaque in your arteries, and science shows that heavy cocaine use over years can build up plaque and cause this. So after years of cocaine, her circulatory system was getting fucked. And what probably happened is that she was in her bathtub smoking some freebase or crack or whatever it might have been, and she probably had a bit of a heart attack or some type of heart problem, causing her to lose control or panic and started to drown in the tub. And this is what often cocaine overdose looks like. It is not a kind death. It is essentially, you get so high, but you start to have basically like a panic attack on steroids until you actually have a heart attack. And some people just die from that. But it sounds like her death was during this attack. She drowned while having it. It probably was not a very kind death. Sad one. This whole video, what was I expecting? This is a fucking depressing video.
God love me when it be done. What's the mean? You waste away to another new prayer. Why you your dreams? We want about life, but none of us willing to learn.
Finally, someone of my generation, Mac Miller. Mac was loved. Bestie Josh, the guy who helps me with music on this channel, he fucking loves Mac Miller. I never really liked him that much. And that was the thing about Mac. You hated him or you loved him. And it wasn't because he did controversial shit or nothing like that. It was really for two reasons. One of them, he was a swaggy white boy. It's easy to hate on a swaggy white boy who raps. That was my complaint, oh, he's a swaggy white boy, try hard. Which is so ironic because I was such a swaggy white boy. Total hypocrite. But the other thing about Mac is that he was very easy to read. He was very transparent. And it was corny at times because it was endearing, but he would say some shit that you could tell he thought he was cool while saying, but it was just kind of cringe. He would say some shit oh, she bubbling, we fucking, then you cuddling. Baby, where the fuck you been? Don't wanna tell you she in love with him. So we ain't saying nothing. You could probably tell she bluffing cause she kissed you with the mouth. She gave me head with my concussion. The inner swaggy white boy still calls me.
Isn't that from Donald Trump? I think.
But the cringe is exactly why people loved and love Mac. It was just so relatable. He was active on social media. You saw his sense of humor, his group of friends. You saw cringy ass freestyle raps that are just battle me. We rumble first, the homie, that's a casualty. Bumble. Ugh. We all did that shit. We all did cringy raps. We all rapped about the same stuff that Mac did, which was fame, women, money, drugs. And if you're not of my generation right now, maybe you're younger or older and you think, oh, that's so stupid. No, what was so refreshing about Mac and that whole generation was that it felt like honesty for the first time. Everyone knew that celebrities loved.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second, guys. What I can say is this. The whole entire Mac Miller come up was one of those things where it was during the social media era. So you had the Soulja Boys, you had the Wiz Khalifa's doing Just Another Day or Another Day vlogs. And then Mac Miller was also a part of the whole Rostrum Records lineup. So you got a peek inside of the sort of behind the scenes, the lifestyle of these artists when they're doing all their vlogs that you normally won't get before. But not just that peek inside of these artists' lives, but also you have to also take into consideration that Mac Miller was actually a good artist. He was doing the rap mixtapes and releasing all these rap mixtapes and making all these catchy songs. And the I think it's Gree Tree, or the name is missing me now, but he had his collective where they were making all these pretty interesting music videos for the time. when it came to hip hop. And a lot of that aspect of getting this sort of behind the scenes look of this person that is actually making good music was a refreshing breath of fresh air, because we had just come from that whole era in the mid 2000s and everything of just like everything was just a little bit too flashy, glitz, glamour. You had the Young Jeezy raps and all these kind of things that were just kind of at a certain point we lost our taste for it. But Macklemore was actually a really good, talented artist. It's when he had done the stuff with Larry Fisher and all the other further albums that he released, they were all actually really good bodies of work. He was showing his he was multi-talented, multi-instrumentalist, and it was actually really refreshing. Unfortunately, when he stopped making the rap stuff and started doing more of that sort of like Larry Fisher sing-song stuff, it just wasn't my bag. But it's not to say that the kid didn't have skills, okay? Let's not take that away from Mac Miller now.
Yeah. Of drugs before this time, but it was a secret that no one was supposed to talk about. But this generation, like Mac, they were finally honest of like, yeah, I'm a young man and pretty much my life is trying to get laid, stealing people's bitches, drugs, and fame and money. And like, yeah, yep. And so to begin the journey of when did Mac start drugs, we don't have to wonder. It was part of his charm. You knew that he was doing drugs the whole goddamn time. Now, early Mac talked about getting drunk with his friends and smoking weed or whatever, but pretty quickly he got into using drugs. And I use the term drugs generally because it was just kind of drugs generally. But there was one drug that he seemed to really take a liking to early on, but it's also a very legendary drug in rap at this time, which was lean. So lean is a very legendary drug, and this is what it was. So you had a styrofoam cup often, that's what people like to serve it in, and then you would put Sprite. Then you would add Jolly Ranchers for more flavoring. And then it was time for the active ingredient, which was a blend medication that was promethazine and codeine. Now, this is a medication that's given to people as like a cough suppressant to help them go to sleep for general pain, aches and pains, and just help people with sleep generally. But those two medications combined are really funny, especially when we remember Elvis. So if we just start with medication codeine, it's an opioid. It's generally, I think, seen as a bit of a shittier opioid. It's not as euphoric, it's not as strong, but it's also weirdly enough a very, very, very ancient, like thousands-of-year-old drug. It's not like a chemically, made in a lab. Codeine is found in the poppy plant. Like it's one of the major active components, morphine and codeine. So it's cool. But as we know about opioids, it has these side effects, like constipation. It has the side effects like itchiness, right? This irritability. And so that's where promethazine comes in. And promethazine is, as you'd guess, a very strong antihistamine. So it battles some of the side effects of the codeine, of the opioid, just like Elvis used to do back in the day. But the other thing that promethazine does is it's called an antihistamine, but it's called a first-generation antihistamine. And what first-generation antihistamines are, they're antihistamines, but they have a strong side effect of sleepiness. And in this case with this medication, that's actually intended. It causes people to be very drowsy and fall asleep. That's why people like that medication. And for reference, a second.
Y'all ever seen when niggas be sipping too much lean and just fall asleep anywhere, dude? Oh my God. This video was very relatable, dude. Mind you, I don't partake in the same way I used to, but let's just say if I'm gonna be anything over the counter, I'm Centrum, A to Z. All right, let's just say that.
Generation antihistamines like Zyrtec, which helps with the itchiness, with the allergies, but it doesn't cause sleepiness. And so in this lean cup, people would be sipping this and it would kind of just get them high. And I've only seen it in the wild I think it was like, I saw it in one studio I worked in like Carson. Now to kind of get into the mind of why rappers like Mac used this lean stuff.
It makes you feel like you're floating on a cloud. You're floating on a cloud. All your problems are gone. You can, and then also when it comes to making music, you just tap into it on a different level. It's like the music is here, and you're just kind of floating on top of it. Like you find every single pocket. You're able to tap into your creative mindset, the flows, the ideas, the rhythms. Everything becomes so effortless when you're on the purple track. Okay, everything becomes very effortless. I can definitely attest to this. Okay, hey, let's get back to the video, guys.
Because it is kind of weird. Like, why do you want to get sleepy at the studio, right? One, it seems like Mac in his interviews talks about how it was just honestly the pressure of the lifestyle that was just exhausting. It was also just the people shitting on him all the time on the internet. Just kind of put a lot of pressure on him, and it finally, with that medication, allowed him to just exist and do what he does without having to think about all the external stuff. But to extrapolate even more why I think the rap industry at the time was really into it, besides just fashionability, I think it's also worth saying that a lot of rappers had a lot of traumatic childhoods, had a lot of like unresolved shit, and then got all this fucking money. And
okay, I'm glad that you finally touched base on this, because I think a lot of the reason why people consume things is because of they're self-medicating, they're soothing pain. I think that when we really break it down, I think that is one of the main reasons why people consume most things, is to calm the pain. Calming the pain, calming the stress, calming the voices in the head, the looming darkness that looms. I think this is the main reason why. I can definitely say it's one of my main reasons why I used to. I don't need to anymore. I told y'all niggas already that pharmaceuticals are not the way, all right?
Opioids sometimes allow you to not have to deal with that. It's kind of like benzos as well, where it's like you don't actually have to self-reflect because you don't care. You're just like, let's just fucking exist and I'm actually okay with the moment right now, finally, right? But you know, that's my fucking opinion. Now, as time went on with Mac, his addictions got worse, but the difference was that there was no secrets behind it. You could hear his music, him talking about it. And the weird thing about it is that as you listen to his music as he progressed, you could feel the self-reflection happening. Like these verses were, instead of just, yeah, bitches and drugs are fun, it went from like, bitches and drugs are fun, but I think there's a hole in my heart. Like he'd say things like, I think I see a fucking
halo. About to meet my maker, brought a double cup of Drano. Some soda for the flavor, uncontrollable behavior with some psychopathic tendencies. Lonely as your neighbors with the bitches, he got special needs. Went to my denim fees, I'm Kennedy on ecstasy. My flavor from the nature, need an acre for my recipe. They got my soul, but I don't let them take the rest of me.
Funny because it's like you're hearing a young man see that there's a problem, but he hasn't put the puzzle pieces together yet. And that was one of the things that really solidified Mac as someone that people loved, because you saw that self-reflection, you saw that growth, and you saw him evolve into like a deeper, more advanced, complex artist and person. And Mac kind of almost became a success story. After a while, he started talking about trying to live a more sober life, and it seemed like he actually did that. It seemed like he was kind of on the up and up. And he also found love with Ariana Grande that looked like a really beautiful relationship. And it just seemed like he was doing it. He had really resolved whatever that hole was. But then they broke up. And then news kind of came out that maybe it was a bit of a toxic relationship, that she was a support system for his sobriety and his vices. And it seemed like after that breakup, he spiraled, got a DUI, did some kind of morally questionable stuff. And I think in retrospect, it looked like he was what my mom always said to me as a kid, is he was a dry drunk. Meaning the underlying issue for why he needed the drugs and the women and all that kind of stuff were still there, but he just didn't indulge in the drugs. And there's a lot of people in that situation, and I'm so projecting because I sadly identify with them really hard, find love in relationships that are beautiful and think that that's the missing hole that they need, right? And it's not, sadly. And with Mac, when Ariana Grande, like that hole was reopened and he just had to get re-exposed, it seemed like he went right back to the habits, if not worse. And the last few nights of his death was just, you can read the text exchanges. This creator did a fantastic job just reading them all out. Basically, he hits up one drug dealer. It's a laundry list of stuff, but essentially he's asking for opioids, benzos, and coke, okay? That drug dealer was only a few minutes late to like their agreed time, and so he hit up another drug dealer who sold him an even longer laundry list of drugs. Again, opioids, benzos, coke, and then also sold him a hooker. And then the first drug dealer ended up showing up, so he also bought those drugs as well. And then he was found dead, overdosed by his assistant. What killed Mac was different than Elvis or Whitney. It wasn't after years or decades of drug use or body deteriorating. It was a young 26-year-old guy who took some pills, and one of them ended up killing him on accident because it had fentanyl in it. Of all the drugs that he had, one of the pills that he bought from the drug dealers were what we call blues or M30s. And these are oxycodone pills that were basically so widely prescribed and so famous that people eventually started counterfeiting them. And in Mac's time of death, basically doctors were not allowed to prescribe oxys as much as they used to. And so the illegal market came in, and you had drug dealers who basically would press in fentanyl into these pill presses to make them look like real M30s. And the thing is,
M30 perks, boys. Okay, listen, guys. Drugs are bad. Okay, don't do them. Don't use them. All right, I do not advise anybody to go down that path. It's a terrible path, and especially for a lot of people who don't have a strong sense of will, they will take over your whole life, and you won't be able to get off of them. Okay. I think I'm okay. I can't speak about myself because that's not what this video is about. This video is about addressing other people's things. But I guess to speak from my own personal experiences, my laundry list is from A to Z. I've taken pretty much the majority of things, but I have a pretty strong sense of will. So I'm able to do things without necessarily getting addicted to them. The only thing that was kind of difficult to break for the longest time was smoking weed. But eventually I got over that as well. One day I just woke up and I was like, I am the weed now. I don't I don't need to take it anymore. I am Kush. And then they just kind of stopped. But for a lot of other people, it's not that simple. So it's one of those things where some people, once they take it, it's over. It becomes a part of their system becomes so reliant on it that it would be a thing that's almost essentially impossible to break. Even if they did become sober, it's one of those things. It's just a monkey on your back that's looming forever that you're never going to be able to escape. So Never, don't take anything. If you are taking things, seek help. Get off of it. Like I said, nobody needs pharmaceuticals. Okay, go to the gym. All right, it's ridiculous. Nobody needs them. Drugs are bad. Drugs are bad. Okay. How long is this stream? We've been streaming 54. Okay, I guess we got one more in the bag. Let's see. How long is this video? This is another 23-minute video. Oy. Oy. Bro, these videos are wild on here, dude. Okay. I mean, is rap vibe? Come on, rap vibe.
I was just having a drink with someone for fuck's sake.
Oh, shout out to Portishead. I do like Portishead. All right, fine. We'll do this last one here. We'll do this last one. All right, let's get into this one. 1 second, fam. Who's out? What is this? What's going on, man? What's up, man? Evelyn Shaggy, what's good, bro? Hello, Evelyn. How's my day been so far? It's been pretty good. I don't know what. What is this? I'm literally about to start, recording a video, and you just disturbed the whole thing. Glad to hear. How's your stream going? I'm good. The stream is doing just fine. Shout out to you for joining the stream. We're about to do a video called Life After Fame or something. You know how social media people and streamers, some of these people go broke. So I guess that's what this next video is about. So sit down, get your popcorn, chime in, and let's get into this, okay? Where are you from? Oh my God, bro. Where am I from? From the internet. I'm from the internet. You're getting in the way of the stream, okay? I don't like asking 21. Stop with the 21 questions, okay? Just sit tight. Let it unfold. I've answered enough questions for you for right now, Evs. Okay? Let's get into this.
Imagine you're 16 years old and it's your first weekend shift. You're bagging groceries under flickering fluorescent lights. Someone in line pulls out their phone and takes a photo. The next morning, your face is everywhere.
Alex from Target. Alex from Target.
The Alex from Target. Alex from Target.
The latest social media sensation.
Alex from Target becomes a national obsession.
Please welcome Alex from Target.
He didn't choose to be here. He was just good looking and the world made him famous.
I mean, are you overwhelmed by this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good looking, bro. The nigga looks so basic, bro.
But here's the thing. Alex wasn't the one-off.
The fuck are you guys? Like my real name is Alex Venegas.
We're creating hundreds of people like Alex every year.
Poo and spit on that thing.
Ordinary people pulled into extraordinary fame overnight.
One song, one video, and your whole life has changed.
At first, it looks like luck, a golden ticket. But if you look closer, there's a pattern no one talks about.
Singers become a huge overnight sensation, coming under attack.
And that pattern is much darker than you'd ever imagine.
For you, I want to fight you. Tell me where you are so I can come beat you up.
We consider these threats to be death threats. This situation is hell.
What was that about?
Let me tell you a story.
All right. Let's get into
Hey guys, it's Rebecca. Welcome to my official YouTube channel. It's the night before my new video premieres online right
Friday. I wouldn't want to be Rebecca Black when that song dropped, bro. That was hell on earth, man.
here.
In 2011, a 13-year-old girl convinces her mom to spend a few $1,000s on a music video.
A friend of mine had done this song and music video, whole thing, and she gave me the info. I basically just went in and recorded my vocals, and then they did what they wanted with them.
The local recording studio runs it as a side hustle. Everyone can walk in, record a song, shoot a video, and experience what it feels like to be a pop star.
I brought my friends all in it, and we spent a day shooting it at my house.
If you haven't been living under a rock, you've probably heard this song before.
Friday, getting down on Friday.
Rebecca Black, Friday. On Friday, February 10th, 2011, it was uploaded to YouTube. For almost a month, nothing happened.
I had no expectations for what the video was going to do. The most that I expected was that it'll go out, and then my grandma will maybe see it, and then
it'll go out and then the grandma will see it. So you spent $1,000 recording and shooting this video for your granny? L.
I'll move on with my life.
It gathered only a few views from classmates, family, and friends, and then suddenly everything changed.
16 million hits online and climbing.
2 million downloads last night alone. It's obviously made Rebecca Black an instant hit. She is now totally famous.
There was a problem. The song didn't spread because people liked it. It spread because people were mocking it.
7 a.m. waking up really horny, gotta be fresh talking about downstairs.
I see my friends. Hey, Rebecca. Kicking in the front seat. 6 a.m. waking up in the morning, gotta go outside to do a prank.
Thursday's the day before Friday, the day after Wednesday.
And that's what turned the fun school project into something much darker.
To have so many people say almost anything.
Okay, even if you dislike the song, to go out of your way to hit up Rebecca and be like, yo, go perish is crazy.
That you could have ever imagined to me at such a young age. Everything that I thought about myself went out the window.
Headlines, videos, endless discussions about why the song was the worst thing ever uploaded, aimed at the child, but done nothing wrong.
What's the meanest thing you've read that maybe hurt you the most?
I hope you cut yourself, and I hope you get an eating disorder so you'll look pretty, and I hope you go cut and die. You're so fat. You'll never be pretty. You suck at singing. I hope you go die.
FBI is involved in investigating some of the death threats.
Rebecca pulled back from school. Her mental health deteriorated.
CNN's iReport website briefly carried a fake story. She was pregnant at 13.
I felt like this was my fault, and I shouldn't have done this, and this is all because of me.
Oh my god, the internet is ruthless, bro. The internet is crazy, dude. Yo, you guys are just destroying this 13-year-old girl for like essentially just trying. She just decided, oh, I want to do something fun. That was it. That was the whole thing. Let me just do something fun on one weekend and let me enjoy myself. And then it gets on the internet and you guys find it and you destroy her, bro. You rip her a new... Sorry.
Became unbelievably depressed and trapped.
The very attention that was supposed to launch a career became something she had to survive. It took years of therapy for Rebecca to even begin separating her own identity from a joke everyone made of her. And then, quietly, something happened. Rebecca Black just kept working. She rebuilt her image from the ground up.
Friday released, get this, just over a decade ago.
How could we forget? Now Rebecca Black is back and transformed.
In 2023, she released her debut album, Let Her Burn. For the first time, people began
That's a fire album cover, bro.
To respect her as an artist.
Rebecca Black.
She even played a DJ set at the famous Boiler Room. And at the end of the night, the crowd danced to the same song that made her famous.
Friday, gotta get down on Friday. Everybody's in the more word to the weekend.
But today, when people hear the name Rebecca Black, they don't think about the artist she became. They think about the meme, the joke, the 13-year-old girl who became popular for all the wrong reasons. And that's the cruel reality of viral fame. Even if you survive it, the version of you that goes viral never dies.
And maybe if I don't talk about it, people will forget. But nobody forgets.
At least Rebecca Black tried to escape the moment that defined her. But not everyone runs from fame. Some step straight into the chaos.
Let's go. What are we talking about here now? Please don't stop.
It's October 12th, 2021. A video is being posted straight from a swimming pool in Florida.
Island boy, and I've been trying to make. Oh, I'm an island boy. I'm just island boy.
Within 48 hours, the video had millions of views. By the end of the week, it was everywhere.
Island boys are taking over the nation right now. Because I'm an island.
I'm gonna keep it like an island boy. I'm just trying to make. I'm an island boy.
So who the fuck are you guys?
Like, all right, my real name is Alex Venegas.
Okay.
Yo, okay, hold on. But this is funny though. This is funny because it's bad. This is funny because it's bad and they're stupid. Rebecca Black, that's just somebody who was trying to have fun. This is a pause. This is pause. Two niggas in the tub together, singing and freestyling.
Yeah.
You? Frankie Venegas.
How old are you guys?
I'm 20 years old.
Two brothers who became famous overnight. At first, it looked like a breakthrough. They leaned into it. Posting constantly, doing interviews, trying to turn the tension into cash.
Now I'm 20, but like when I was like 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, like all my whole teenage years, I was in and out of jail, or I just stayed in jail for like 2 years.
Before they got famous, they used to steal cars. We know about that type of crime, right? The street type of crime. But did you know that there's a type of crime that's very, very hard to protect against?
The story about an alleged group of identity thieves caught with thousands in cash.
There are thieves out there that are actually able to steal your identity. They're scraping your personal info from online. Everything from your phone number.
Okay.
Incogni has graciously given you fall in love with Alex and Frankie for their talents. It fell in love with the novelty, the hot mess. It wasn't something they could intentionally repeat. They were warned it wouldn't last.
I think you guys take all of your jewelry assets and invest into something, so you guys will never ever be broke again. I don't need financial advice, and I probably make more money than you. But that was me being nice. It wasn't me being like an asshole. I could be an asshole. I could turn it up and be an asshole. Somebody else is not going to go in your favor. But look, no, it could go in my favor.
I felt invincible.
My security will whoop your security, and I'll beat the shit out of you right now. Whoa. What's going to do about it?
By early 2022, the algorithm had moved on. The tension dried up, and the Island Boys faced a real question. What now? So they do the only thing they know how to. They escalate everything. Start posting more frequently, more provocatively.
Hey, but look what I just got. Look at the red interior. I'm on mama. Stop playing vet. I'm on mama's mind, you hear me?
Then the kissing video appeared. Two brothers on camera.
Oh! Bro, pause.
Kissing each other.
What's going on with the that's with you two kissing each other and shit? Bro, shut your ass up, bro.
These niggas think they're what, Baby and Wayne?
Hey, yo, deadass, I would love to see you try that shit. Bro, I would love to see you try that shit.
And strangely, it works briefly. The video was shared. People reacted.
When I think about making out with my sibling, and it just really sounds unappealing, how did you get over that? Were you disgusted by the idea at first? Like, how did you feel about it?
I mean, we're twin brothers. We came out the womb together. We grew up together. It's not really disgusting if it's twins.
The spotlight continued to fade. They became more and more desperate.
We don't do that over here. You're in the wrong app. Just letting you know.
In the end, they launched OnlyFans. And I don't want to tell you what they post today. I'll leave that for your imagination.
Bro. I understand that you guys want to, like... This is the thing, like, once people get addicted to this idea of fame, they start doing whatever they can to maintain it. So these brothers clearly, instead of spiraling or doing things, or not spiraling, but I guess, well, you could spiral in a good direction, you know what I mean? But they decided to spiral by doing the most debauchery things. They said, hey, yeah, we're going to do debauchery, and then it's just going to get worse. We're just going to try to up the ante every single time. And then we're going to do an OF where, oh my God, bro. It's not worth it. It's not worth it, you guys. Jesus.
But trust me, their story gets darker every single day.
Found himself behind bars. He's a member of the Island Boys rap duo. Inside their car, they say they found powdered fentanyl on a credit card that was in the console.
The Island Boys believed that attention meant something. They thought the likes and the shares were proof that they had made it. But not everyone who goes viral is a joke. Some people make it because they possess actual talent, and they make it because of it. But when that attention slips away, the fall is often so much further.
I want the best, and I'm going to get the best. Because I'm the teacher. Class is in session.
This is Gene Simmons, co-founder of the legendary band Kiss. In 2005, he led a reality show on Channel 4.
You're all getting angry at each other because you're starting to understand what the stakes are.
The idea was simple. Take ordinary students, form a rock band, and turn the process into a TV series called Rock School.
I want what all these guys have got. What? Money, guitars, girls.
15-year-old Christopher Hardman showed up to audition. He was the shortest boy in his year, so everyone called him Lil Chris.
I'm Lil Chris. I have to compensate for being short in some way, so I make a lot of noise, I draw a lot of attention to myself.
And the moment he opens his mouth, it's obvious he's got a voice.
That's what I like. Give it to me again. 1, 2, 3, go!
He's got the confidence and the kind of stage presence you just can't teach, so he naturally becomes the lead singer of the band.
Chris, you're singing lead.
By the end of the series, Lil Chris is standing on stage in Long Beach, California, opening for Judas Priest. At only 15 years old, he's playing in front of massive crowds. Back home, he's working class.
Can't lie, the kid's got talent, bro. He's got skill. Shout out to Lil Chris. But I think Lil Chris also put out a couple of tracks too, if I'm not mistaken.
Parents believe they've given their son the ultimate opportunity, but they have no idea what they've actually handed him.
My life's been turned upside down. It's like, it's amazing. And now I'm in this recording studio in London. I can't believe it.
Within weeks of the show airing, Chris signs a record deal with RCA Records. In September 2006, his debut single, Checking It Out, hits number 3.
There we go. That was what I was about to say. Checking it?
In the UK charts, followed by albums, tours, television appearances, and even his own TV show on the BBC.
Hello and welcome to the Little Chris Show, brought to you by me, possibly the coolest person in the world, Little Chris.
But momentum doesn't last forever. By his early 20s, the calls stopped coming. The momentum was gone, and suddenly nobody needed him anymore.
Yeah. What do you think happened?
I don't know. I thought they were really good, but I suppose that's just how it works. You get hits, and then some don't hit quite so good.
It's a tough market, isn't it? Especially when you're.
It just doesn't hit the way it's supposed to hit, eh? Like a couple of crumpets, eh?
At such a young age.
Yeah. Chris struggled. He couldn't cope with the loss of his stardom. His family watched as anxiety and depression took over his life.
Even though Chris felt that he could talk to his family and people close to him about it, obviously being in the public eye, there's a lot of stigma.
Chris posted about how he struggled with no longer being relevant, about how becoming famous at 15 isn't something he'd recommend, especially if you're untrained and unprepared for what fame actually does to you. On March 3rd, 2015, Chris tweeted that he was quitting music for good.
I guess we all can't be Justin Bieber, huh?
that he was facing the reality of never reclaiming the spotlight, that maybe he just wasn't good enough. 2 weeks later, news came out.
Singer-songwriter and TV personality Lil Chris has died at the age of 24.
Damn.
Chris Hardman was only 24 years old. The industry that made him famous at 15 quickly moved on, long before he had the chance to grow up himself. Chris's parents signed him up for the show. He followed his dreams willingly. But not everyone gets that choice. Sometimes the internet turns your life into a meme without you ever giving it permission to.
Terrifying moments for a woman.
The worst part about the meme economy is that little snippet or that meme, like, why the you lying, that guy, or the raping the kids and the raping the children or whatever. Yeah, those little segments, you end up living that reality and that life forever. Unless you find some way to diverge into something else, you end up being the meme guy for the rest of your life. People see you in public and they say, do this thing, do this, do that thing, do that thing. And that's all you are ever remembered for. Fame is a hell of a drug, man. I'm telling y'all niggas, man. Don't look for it.
Who woke up to a strange man in bed with her. The woman screamed. Her brother rushed in to help and tried to fight the offender off. Obviously, we have a rapist in Lincoln Park.
In 2010, Antoine Dodson is standing outside his apartment complex in Huntsville, Alabama. A local news crew just showed up because someone broke into his sister's bedroom.
We gonna find you. I'm letting you know now, so you can run and tell that.
Antoine is angry. He's not performing. He's emotionally reacting to the situation.
Within minutes, it became a viral internet sensation, taking over popular sites like Facebook and YouTube.
And then someone auto-tunes it.
He's climbing in your windows. He's snatching your people alive.
The Bad Intruder song explodes online. It even charts on the Billboard Hot 100. It goes platinum, selling over 1 million times on iTunes. Suddenly, Antoine Dodson is famous.
So I'm like, wow, this song went platinum on an accident. Imagine what I could do on purpose. And that's why I started going into the studio, writing my upcoming album. It comes out at the end of the summer, and it's called On Purpose.
But he's not famous for surviving something dramatic, for protecting his family. He's famous because the internet decided that his genuine fear was entertaining.
Obviously, we have a rapist in Lincoln Park.
And for a brief moment, it looks like an opportunity. Interviews, appearances, money rolling in.
So this is the move I was saying. This is what you have to do, is you have to take that moment and then capitalize on it and do whatever it is you've always wanted to do now that the eyes and the spotlight is on you. So shout out to him for actually making the move, but unfortunately I think the internet is just ruthless, man.
But Antoine was just a flavor of the week. Antoine was left holding on to a moment that the internet had already moved past, and trying to live up to a public identity he never really asked for. The same pattern would repeat again and again.
According to the apartment manager, the fire started in a woman's home who is wheelchair-bound.
In 2012, Sweet Brown escapes a terrifying apartment fire and gives a short interview as still coughing from the smoke inhalation.
Then I ran out. I didn't grab no shoes or nothing, Jesus. I ran for my life. And then the smoke got me. I got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that.
The internet turns her into a catchphrase.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Oklahoma City woman has become one of the latest internet sensations.
The clip was everywhere. That catchphrase became part of our common language.
Mom, you're viral. You 2 million in 2 days. I didn't understand that.
You said, what is viral? Is that a cream?
That's what I thought. I need to stir up something.
And Dear Sweet quickly got creative on how to make a couple of bucks from her viral fame. From merch lines to acting gigs, even her own barbecue sauce.
But I don't like looking at it because I don't like looking at myself like that because I look like a joke when I was really serious.
I was in the passenger side of this car, and he comes over on there.
And then there's Kai, the hitchhiker, the darkest story of all. In 2013, Kai became famous after a local news interview. He described stopping a violent assault with a hatchet.
He ran up behind him with a hatchet, smash, smash, smash.
He's charismatic, unfiltered, strange, but in a way the internet loves.
I like all the things that go viral on the other two remixes. That says a lot about... That says a lot about our culture, guys. Wild.
Kai was invited on talk shows.
Welcome, Kai. Welcome. How are you? Excellent. How about yourself? I'm doing good, thank you.
Recognized everywhere.
How did it make you feel, though, being this viral sensation?
I'm not a virus. I'm a sensation. I'm Kai.
Pulled into the spotlight without any kind of support system. He said that he struggled with the sudden attention. And less than a year later, Kai was arrested for murder.
Well, now, a few months later.
Come on, my guy. Come on, guy. How did you go from 0 to 100 like that, dude?
The internet sensation is in jail, suspected of murder.
He claims he was drugged and then sexually assaulted.
And he was over top of me, and he shoved me into the bed. I was trying to get him away from me. I couldn't get him away.
And even though he claimed he
was
acting in self-defense, he was sentenced to life in prison.
Known as Kai the hitchhiker, has been sentenced to 57 years in prison.
Different people, different circumstances, similar outcomes. Because the internet really doesn't care about these people. It doesn't care about their stories. It only wants to meme.
Guy should have done jail time just for that neck face tattoo thing. What the fuck is that, dude?
till it gets bored.
In the future, everybody will be world famous for 15 minutes.
Andy Warhol once said, everyone would love to be famous for 15 minutes. And maybe he was right. What he never touched on, though, was what happens when those minutes end. I guess a key question is, who really decides what goes viral and what doesn't? But I think the answer isn't so much who, it's what.
So we decide.
The Disney Channel has begun its nationwide search for talented youngsters.
For most of modern history, fame followed the system. If you wanted it, you had to go to the right people. Record labels, casting directors, talent scouts, people whose entire job was to say no to everyone.
Yeah, the gatekeepers. Then there was no gatekeepers. Then the gatekeepers is us. We decide what becomes famous. So I guess it's a reflection of the current module of society, what goes viral or what becomes famous or what is a famous meme. It's based on, if you look at it, a lot of stuff that's going big is goy slop. It's slop for the goy, okay? Feed it to the goy. Feed the beautiful little, pretty little cattle. Feed them. You like that? You like that goy? You enjoy that slop that you're eating? Your food?
I don't mean to be unkind, but you have one of the worst singing voices.
That system was brutal, but it did something important. It filtered. It trained. It prepared you for what came next. It was essentially impossible to get famous by accident. You had to earn it. And by the time you got there, you'd built the skills to survive it. Then everything changed.
All right, so here we are in front of the elephants. And cool thing about these guys.
Suddenly, everyone had a camera. Everyone had a platform. At first, this felt as progress. An even playing field, lower barriers to entry. Everyone could now build an audience on their own.
I can do this on my own, in my bedroom, upload it, people can enjoy it.
But what we didn't predict was another effect. You see, the algorithm doesn't care about skill or talent. It only cares about one thing: engagement.
How do we consume as much of your time and conscious attention as possible?
And engagement doesn't reward substance. It rewards spectacle, shock, novelty. A career takes years to build. A viral moment can happen in a weekend. And today, the entire internet basically runs on that same system. A system where you can become a celebrity by accident.
What did I wish for? To be famous and be rich.
And here's what we've quietly accepted. A culture that prioritizes shortcuts over substance doesn't just create bad content, it creates collateral damage.
Yo, what's up, guys? I'm live right now on You Now. The name's below. Come watch. Let's spread some positivity and love. So come on.
Because when the algorithm decides a 15-year-old is famous, it doesn't warn them about what comes next. The algorithm doesn't see people at all. It sees content. And content has no feelings, no future, no need for protection. And it's true that a small number of people actually do manage to turn sudden attention into something lasting. We can point to some rare cases. People who survive the spotlight long enough to define themselves beyond it.
Why talk to her there, bro? She fell off, man. She's hawk chewing in some back alley right now, dog.
But those stories, they're the exceptions, not the rule. Somewhere along the way, we stopped seeing people in viral videos as humans. Instead, they became content. And I would say this especially to young people out there. A viral hit isn't success. It feels like success, but it isn't. It's usually fake, and it usually won't last. And when your 15 minutes of fame fade away, well, you're left to deal with the leftovers alone. And I think that's the real problem here, and it's a problem that we should be talking much more about.
So at the end of the day, when the fame goes away and all the lights shut off, the only thing left for anybody is death or murder charge. Catch you guys in the next video, man. And that's it for today, man. I'm done with today's stream. What is this? Like having a good logo banner over there. So what the fuck? What the fuck is this bitch talking about, bro? Shut up. Don't talk to me on my stream. This Evelyn Jordan is grifting product, bro, in my stream. Like, dude, be quiet. All right, guys, I'll catch you later. All right.